Part 14. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 131. When there was no one in the room, Feng Qingxiu took Hong Ling's skinny hand and whispered, "Sister Hong Ling, I originally prepared 2 packs of brown sugar and 30 eggs for you, but seeing your mother-in-law like this, I dare to give it to you, but I'm afraid it won't reach your mouth. I'll take it back to your aunt and ask her to cook it and bring it to you every day." Although Hong Ling has brothers in her natal family, her 2 sisters-in-law are very nice and harmonious. Hong Ling's mother also loves her only daughter. Now that her daughter is in confinement and is suffering from the pain of losing her son, Feng Qingxiu gave her brown sugar eggs. "No matter what happens, I will never hesitate. Mother Guo is different. Mother-in-law is never mother." Hong Ling gave birth to a child and lost her son. In Guo's mother's eyes, she was a useless woman. Since she was useless, Hong Ling would not give the delicious food to Hong Ling. She would think it was a waste. After this birth, Hong Ling finally understood her mother-in-law. After listening to Feng Qingxiu's words, Hong Ling nodded silently and said gratefully, "Thank you, Xiaoxiu, I didn't even help you when you were kicked out of the house, but now you are so kind to me. We are sisters, why should we be polite between sisters? If I didn't have it, I wouldn't give it to you." Feng Qingxiu patted her hand gently. "Sister Hong Ling, listen to me carefully. I know you are very sad. If you don't cut someone else's flesh, others don't know the pain. No one can feel your pain. However, the child is gone, nothing can happen to you. Look at your mother-in-law, you are immersed in pain like this, she is cursing outside, and your brother-in-law is not considerate of your thoughts. If this continues, it will only bring endless trouble to your life. You, cheer up and take good care of yourself. Everything will be fine when your health is good. Otherwise, when the spring season is busy, you can't be idle and drag your body to the ground, so that you won't get the root of the disease in the future." After hearing these words, Hong Ling was enlightened. "You're right, I have to take good care of myself while I'm not busy now. When they get busy, they will only think about earning work points, so they will definitely let me go to the fields, and maybe they will let me do heavy work. The work points for heavy work are high." After figuring it out, Hong Ling felt much better and pulled Feng Qingxiu to chatter until Mother Guo came in again. Feng Qingxiu said goodbye, worried that Guo's mother would ask Hong Ling what she got after she left. If Hong Ling couldn't take it out, she would cause trouble again, so she took out 2 eggs and a small handful of noodles from the basket on her back. "Aunt Guo, Xiaoun and I rely on Lu Zhang to send us things. We are very tight and can't come up with anything good. Why don't you give Sister Hong Ling a bowl of egg noodles to make up for it?" Even 2 eggs and a handful of noodles were enough to make Guo's mother happy, and she quickly received them. "Don't worry, I won't treat your sister badly. I still hope that she will get well and give me a fat grandson." Living in the same brigade, who doesn't know that Feng Qingxiu has an excellent partner and sends her some scarce supplies from time to time? For this reason, I don't know how many people laugh at the 2 Feng brothers. If they don't cherish this girl, they can't do anything about it now. Can't get it? When sending Feng Qingxiu out, Mother Guo said again, "Xiaoxiu will come here to play often. Your sister is very lonely during confinement." How could Feng Qingxiu not guess what Guo's mother was thinking? He smiled and responded casually. Just as she was preparing to go to Hong Ling's parents' house, she suddenly heard the loudspeaker in the branch secretary's office blaring, Feng Qingxiu, your partner has sent a letter. Come to me to get the letter." The one who spoke was Feng Xuanzu. No one had starved to death before and after years ago. He was in very good spirits and his voice was particularly loud. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 132. Upon hearing the letter from Lu Zhang, Feng Qingxiu hurried to the branch secretary's office without even bothering to go to Hungling's parents' home. Second uncle, where is Lu Jiang's letter? Seeing Feng Qingxiu, Feng Xuanzun smiled with a smile on his face and pointed to a package on the table and the envelope on the package. Now all post offices send letters and packages to various production brigades. Next time you can come directly to get them from me. Thank you, second uncle. Feng Xuanzi waved his hand. You're welcome, it's not a problem. The package was very heavy. Feng Qingxiu carried it in her hand and put the envelope into the pocket of her coat. She didn't open the envelope until she got home. It didn't matter at this glance, she was stunned after reading it. Go to war. Lu Jiang is going to fight? In the letter, he did not tell her the specific location of the battle. He only said that the situation on the southwest border was critical and that their troops were sent there. They would have to leave the day after writing this letter. It was not convenient to disclose other details and it would take a long time. I can't write to her for a while. At the same time, Lu Jiang sent her a remittance order for 5,000 yuan. This money is all his current savings, and he originally planned to use it as a gift before getting married. The Lu family is very particular about 3 matchmakers and 6 betrothals. Now that the situation has changed, he sent the money to Feng Qingxiu for living expenses and asked her to take care of his old father and young nephew. Then he was on the battlefield and couldn't write letters, so he couldn't send money either. After this, the length of time is not up to anyone, and the original plan to get married this year fell through. This time, I don't know whether I will live or die. Lu Jiang spoke very plainly in the letter, but there was a sense of anxiety between the lines. He hoped that he could return safely, but he also knew that life and death on the battlefield was not up to him. If he survived in the end, and Feng Qingxiu was willing to wait, he would marry her immediately when he came back. If Feng Qingxiu was unwilling to wait, or he would die on the battlefield, just ask her not to be sad, not to continue waiting, but to find another lover. Time was urgent, and he was afraid that his father would worry about him, so he stopped writing to his father. He also asked Feng Qingxiu in the letter not to tell him, and to keep it from him unless he received bad news about himself. Feng Qingxiu's tears fell immediately. The greatness of soldiers lies in putting their own life and death aside for the sake of the country and nation. Knowing that life and death were uncertain, they still moved forward fearlessly. She wanted to tell Lu Jiang that she was willing to wait for him and wait for him to return safely. It was not easy to meet a satisfactory partner in this life, but now Lu Jiang might be on the road or might have arrived at the battlefield, and it would only be enough to send a letter. It can sink into the sea like a mud cow. Now, her only hope is that the 2 body armors will be sent to Lu Jiang before he goes off to war. Thinking of this, Feng Qingxiu couldn't help but beat her head. She should have given the body armor to Lu Jiang earlier, so that she wouldn't have to worry about the body armor not being delivered to him. Although on the battlefield, bullets are raining and artillery fire is raging, the effect of body armor is minimal, but it is better than nothing. When she was holding on to a glimmer of hope, Lu Jiang had already gone deep into the enemy camp wearing the body armor she sent. On the day he broke camp, Lu Jiang received these 2 pieces of body armor. It's really suspenseful. If it's 1 day later, he won't be able to receive it. He can only receive it after returning from the war. Although he couldn't read the calendar, he understood Feng Qingxiu's thoughts. He kept 1 piece for himself and gave 1 to Zhao Yang. He asked Zhao Yang not to tell anyone about it. He only said that Feng Qingxiu used a lot of favors to entrust someone to do it. To these 2 foreign high-tech body armors. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 133. With the hope that the body armor would be in Lu Jiang's hands, Feng Qingxiu took the remittance slip sent by Lu Zhang and went to the county town to withdraw money. The amount was too big, and the staff didn't dare to make the decision without authorization. They invited the person in charge, who kept looking at Feng Qingxiu, as if she couldn't believe it. "My partner is a soldier. He went to fight. He sent all his savings before going to the battlefield," Feng Qingxiu said calmly. She didn't blame the staff for being suspicious. After all, in this poverty-stricken era, 5,000 yuan was a huge sum of money. After all, it was not until the 1980s and 1990s that the term 10,000 yuan households was born. 5,000 yuan is one half of 10,000 yuan. After listening to Feng Qingxiu's words, the person in charge and the staff were in awe. They have great respect for every soldier who goes to the battlefield, and treat their families with special preferential treatment. In their view, going to the battlefield means a narrow escape from death. Those who survive are heroes, and those who are killed or injured are still heroes. The families of heroes deserve preferential treatment, because every soldier sacrifices himself for the motherland and creates the peace of the motherland with his own flesh and blood. Even if Feng Qingxiu is just Lu Jiang's love interest, they treat her like a military family member. At this time, the staff remembered that Feng Qingxiu would come to withdraw money every month, always 120 yuan, and it seemed that it was also sent by Lu Jiang. Someone like him who sends so much money to his partner every month, I couldn't find another one in the county, so I was very impressed. After telling the person in charge about this, the person in charge immediately arranged for someone to withdraw money to Feng Qingxiu. 5,000 yuan, 1 cent is a lot, 1 bundle is 100 pieces, 5 bundles in total, 5 thick bundles. Feng Qingxiu turned around and deposited it in the bank, along with the 120 yuan that Lu Jiang sent every month. She usually uses the supplies stored in the space for food and clothing, so she hasn't touched any of this money. She hoped that Lu Jiang would return safely, but she was afraid that if Lu Jiang had an accident, everyone would be happy to return safely. If there was any accident, she could not keep the money in her own hands and should give it to Lu's father. After saving the money, Feng Qingxiu put the passbook into the space and walked listlessly towards home. My heart was in turmoil, and I really had no intention of going to the black market to sell some food to people who were in urgent need of food to save their lives. Just a few minutes after leaving, Feng Qingxiu suddenly heard someone calling her. Feng Qingxiu raised her head and was slightly startled. "Sister-in-law. It's me calling you." I thought I saw it wrong, but if I look carefully, yes, it's you. Xiao Hong held Feng Qingxiu's hand with a smile on her face, unable to believe the ordinary-looking girl in front of her. She was the beauty who came to my house at that time. This skill should be learned by those young and beautiful girls who want to cover up their beauty. She didn't recognize Feng Qingxiu either, but she recognized Feng Qingxiu's outfit. Here, there are few people who have such good military coats and hats, because military uniforms have hierarchy regulations in the army, and the military coat Feng Qingxiu is wearing is only owned by senior generals. The military coat and hat were worn by Feng Qingxiu when she came to their home, along with the iconic big scarf and shoes. Feng Qingxiu temporarily concealed her worries about Lu Jiang and said with a smile, "What a coincidence. I met my sister-in-law when I entered the city for the first time after the New Year. Although it is a little late, I still have to say Happy New Year to my sister-in-law. Everyone is happy, everyone is happy. Come on, it's not easy to come here. Come and sit at my house." Xiao Hong couldn't help but take Feng Qingxiu back to her home. Unexpectedly, there was a guest at home. When Chen Ming saw Feng Qingxiu, he was stunned for a moment and quickly introduced them. "Brothers and sisters are welcome. Let me introduce you to them. This is my comrade in arms who is also from Lu Jiang. His name is Wang Zijin." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 134. Upon hearing that he was Lu Jiang's comrade in arms, Feng Qingxiu suddenly felt a sense of intimacy and said to Wang Zijin, "Hello, comrade." "Hello, hello." Wang Zijin didn't know Feng Qingxiu's origin, so he said while looking at Chen Ming. Chen Ming immediately noticed Wang Zijin's doubts and laughed loudly. "Zijin, this is Lu Jiang's unmarried daughter-in-law, her name is Feng Qingxiu. Despite her young age, she is a capable person." Cheng An quietly told him many times that those who can get fine grain in this era are definitely not ordinary people. Thanks to the light wind and snow, their family had a good year with plenty of money. Looking at the child's happy, flower-like face, Chen Ming and Xiao Hong were extremely grateful to Feng Qingxiu for her generosity. Wang Zijin suddenly realized, Lu Jiang has a partner? This kid didn't listen to what he told me. You are in charge of logistics on the battlefield. You are so far away and communication is inconvenient. How could he tell you? Chen Ming said bluntly. That's true. Wang Zijin touched his head, and then said to Feng Qingxiu, Comrade Qingxiu, Lu Jiang is a good comrade. It was him and Zhao Yang who took the initiative to volunteer this time. We are all proud to have such comrades. Take the initiative to ask for help? Wasn't it transferred from above? With a little doubt in her heart, Feng Qingxiu did not ask, but said solemnly, I am also proud of him. Chen Ming was surprised. Lu Jiang went to war. Yes, Wang Zijin nodded, I guess we have already set off. The specific situation will not be known until I rush back. Then he doesn't plan to come back to get married? I've heard him say many times that he will file a marriage report when he returns to the army, and he will come back to marry Qingxiu after taking leave this year. If he goes to war, it will be impossible for him to go to war for a year and a half. Come back. Moreover, Chen Ming, who has personally buried countless comrades, knows that he may not be able to come back in the end. Fighting means losing half your life. Life and death each have a half chance. Recalling the longing on Lu Jiang's face when he talked about marriage, Chen Ming suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. Xiao Hong looked at her husband's empty sleeve and didn't say a word. She didn't know what to say or what to say. In her opinion, fighting means going to die, and the chance of survival is far lower than death. Feng Qingxiu is so young and so beautiful. She can't find a single bad thing about Lu Jiang and Lu Jiang's father and grandson. If Lu Jiang has any shortcomings, outsiders don't know how many unpleasant rumors they would say. Before Wang Zijin could answer Chen Ming's question, Feng Qingxiu suddenly said, I'm waiting for him to come back. Even if this war lasts for 3 to 5 years, as long as he comes back alive, I will always wait for him. If the old man, if God has no eyes, I will guard my sister and take care of Uncle Lu, and raise the 2 children Tianwan and Tianzi. In her previous life, she had never experienced it, and she did not understand what others meant by love. When she met Lu Jiang, she realized that the feeling of meeting such a person in the vast sea of people, such a person who suddenly filled the emptiness in her heart, was so wonderful that it was indescribable. It was as if she had traveled through time just to meet him. No matter life or death, it will be him in this life, and no one will make her feel like this again except him. Wang Zijin and Chen Ming were stunned. What did she mean? Isn't it what they think? Qingxiu, don't say that. Lu Jiangji has his own destiny and will definitely come back to marry you safely, Xiao Hong said. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 135. Yes, my sister-in-law is right, God has eyes, Lu Jiang will definitely be safe and sound. In this life, you can make do with anything, except marriage and relationships. Feng Qingxiu smiled lightly. Although she was wearing ugly makeup, in the eyes of Chen Ming and Xiao Hong, she was as beautiful as before, or even more beautiful. They couldn't help but secretly sigh that Lu Jiang was lucky, he was really lucky. Now that men and women are equal, Not every girl is willing to wait for a love partner who is struggling far away. Comrade Wang, Brother Chen said before that you were in charge of logistics on the battlefield. Feng Qingxiu asked Wang Zijin. Wang Zijin secretly envied Lu Zhang for meeting such a good marriage partner. After hearing this, he came back to his senses and said, "Yes, what's the problem?" "Comrade Qingxiu, Lu Zhang usually calls me brother, so why don't you call me brother too? Come on, don't be so unfamiliar with your family." The rougher the man is from the army, the less he cares about red tape. "Okay, brother, are you responsible for the logistics on Lu Jiang's battlefield?" Feng Qingxiu said eagerly. Wang Zijin suddenly understood a little bit and said with a smile, "I am in charge of logistics, but I am not necessarily sent to that war location to manage logistics affairs. I am able to stand here today because the war in the place where I work is over. I went back to my hometown to visit relatives during the holidays and stopped by to see Lao Chen. However, if you have something to give to Lu Zhang, I can find a way to deliver it to him." Feng Qingxiu's eyes immediately lit up, as bright as stars, and she nodded vigorously. "I have something I want to give to him, but I just don't have the means. If I can help me with this, I'd be very grateful. Lu Zhang is for the country and the people. He embarks on this road of life and death without turning back. It is my honor to help you." "You don't need to thank me," Wang Zijin said solemnly. Chen Ming interrupted, "When will you leave? Time is very tight. I have to go to the city to take the train tomorrow. The ticket is for 9:40 tomorrow morning." "It's too late, it's totally too late." Feng Qingxiu needed time to change the body armor. When she learned Wang Zijin's departure time, her heart suddenly dropped. "Great. Brother Chen, sister-in-law, can I borrow your bicycle? I want to go back immediately to prepare. I will arrive at the train station in the city at 8 o'clock tomorrow to meet Brother Wang on time." Although there is a bicycle in her space, it is too new to be taken out and used, and it is difficult to explain its origin. Chen Ming said hurriedly, "You can just ride the bike." When Xiao Hong heard this, she went back to the house and found the military luggage bag that Chen Ming used before. "Qingxiu, I don't know how many things you will prepare for Lu Zhang, but the packages we usually pack are definitely not as good as the military luggage bags. Use it, take it, and use it." Thank you, Brother Chen, thank you sister-in-law." With this luggage bag, it is convenient for Wang Zijin to get on and off the train. Feng Qingxiu didn't dare to delay, so she hurried home on a borrowed bicycle. She stopped at a remote mountain nook halfway and rummaged through the space for the equipment and materials she had prepared to prepare for the end of the world. She remembered that things like bayonets and daggers were not allowed on the train, so she turned around and asked Wang Zijin if she could take them with her. Bayonets are incompatible with the current era, while military daggers are different and have no obvious markings. Neither does a helmet, the markings are too obvious. Feng Qingxiu was sweating profusely while searching, and only half of the luggage bag was filled with usable things, including the body armor that had not been renovated. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 136. In Feng Qingxiu's previous life, technology was so advanced that it was unknown how many times it was now. Although some things such as telescopes, compasses and field survival equipment are not exclusive to the military, due to the large number of enthusiasts, the technical level has developed rapidly and is far more advanced than the current military equipment. Especially since the country has just started, the equipment in the army is not complete at all. When preparing, Feng Qingxiu carefully removed all the marks that could be removed, and found something to paste on those that could not be removed. There are a lot of 502 glue and other things in the space, as well as paint and dye, which finally came in handy. After sewing 2 body armor jackets overnight, Feng Qingxiu filled the luggage bag with various storable and easy-to-carry foods, filling the luggage bag full. At the same time, she prepared a lot of food for Wang Zijin on the road. Dry food, and pack it in a separate bag. At 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, Feng Qingxiu got up and rushed to the city train station. For this matter, she entrusted her sister to her second aunt yesterday. The bicycle and luggage bag were placed in the space. She walked to her destination. It was too dark and the road was not easy to walk. She did not dare to ride a bicycle. She did not take it out until she was almost close to the city limits when no one was around. Bikes and luggage bags. At the same time, it was getting dark. When she arrived at the train station, Feng Qingxiu looked at her watch. It was 7:25. In less than half an hour, Chen Ming and Wang Zijin came over. Seeing Feng Qingxiu's body covered with a thin layer of mist and frost, they couldn't help but said in unison, "Why don't you go inside and wait? It's so cold outside." "I'm wearing thick clothes." "It's not cold." Feng Qingxiu was worried that Wang Zijin couldn't see her, so how could she dare to wait for him inside? She handed the luggage bag to Wang Zijin. "Brother, I'm sorry to bother you." "Family, what's the trouble?" Wang Zijin took the luggage bag, his arms almost sank with it. It was too heavy. How many good things were packed in it? Heavier than all his luggage. The soldier was very straightforward, so Wang Zijin couldn't help but ask. Feng Qingxiu said embarrassedly, "I asked someone to get some equipment for Ajiang before. Before I had time to send it to him, I received a letter from him saying that he was going to the battlefield. Fortunately, I met my brother and you could give it to him. I will. It's all packed. The luggage bag is not full, but I also packed some food. Thank you for your hard work, brother. There is dry food in the bag." "Brother and sister, you are too polite." Wang Zijin was very touched, and Xiao Hong prepared a lot for him when he came. "There's one more thing I need to trouble my brother. I don't know if the train management is strict. I have a dagger that I want to ask my brother to deliver to Lujiang." Feng Qingxiu took out a military dagger with a leather sheath. "The military dagger that I finally dug out from the space was from a foreign country. Counting the time, I already have it. It's just that foreign advanced and sharp military daggers have not flowed into our country." Wang Zijin took it in his hand and said, "I can carry it. My identity is different. I can hand it in first and take it back after getting off the car." "Let me see what kind of dagger it is." Chen Ming pulled out the dagger with one hand. A cold light flashed in front of his eyes. He looked at the blade and design and took a breath. "Good guy. Our country really doesn't have such a sharp military dagger." What attracted him most was that the dagger was designed for close combat. The design was very clever and reasonable. Wang Zijin was also secretly surprised. This was not something that ordinary people could get. It had just been born abroad not long ago. The way he looked at Feng Qingxiu suddenly changed. No wonder Chen Ming said that this younger brother and sister were not simple. Isn't it just simple? It's so extraordinary. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 137. After listening to Chen Ming's words and looking at Wang Zijin's expression, Feng Qingxiu suddenly understood that the reason why they were surprised by the dagger was the technology, advanced foreign technology, not just the sharpness. She suddenly remembered the books collected in her space. There are many books, many of which are about machinery. I don't know if there are any books on weapon design. Look for it carefully when you get home, maybe it can come in handy. First there is a country, then there is a home. Only when the country is strong can the small family be safe and secure. At this time, Feng Qingxiu regretted that she was not a military enthusiast. If she were, she would definitely have collected a lot of information about military matters and the history, structure, design principles, etc. of various weapons. The weapons and equipment currently collected in Sarah's home are all designed to cope with the end of the world. Pity. But this pity passed by in a flash, and people were contented. She had space and so many supplies, and she was already very happy. Brother Wang, I wrote a letter to Ajiang and asked you to find a way to send it to him so that he can serve the country on the front line with peace of mind. When he goes to the battlefield, he must protect his own life and the safety of his family, old and young. He doesn't need to worry. As she said that, Feng Qingxiu took out a thin envelope from her pocket. Wang Zijin received the dagger and the fluttering letter. Don't worry, brothers and sisters, the things and letters will definitely be handed over to Lu Jiang. After returning to the army and cancelling his leave, the first thing Wang Zijin did was to inquire about the departure date of the logistics department transporting goods to the front line. Before he could find out the specific time, he received a transfer order from above, ordering him to follow the urgent need for military supplies. Go to the front line. It is the place where Lu Jiang fought, which is not a coincidence, because the most important thing at the moment is this war. After a fast journey, as soon as we arrived at the front-line logistics department, we heard that the war had broken out. The sound of gunshots and cannons came and went. Wounded people continued to be sent to the rear, and field doctors and nurses were busy and often anxious about the lack of medicines. Wang Zijin didn't even bother looking for Lu Jiang and quickly got into work. When he finally took a breath and found Lu Jiang, he was letting the nurse treat the wound on his arm. Lu Jiang, are you injured? Wang Zijin's first thought was that if Feng Qingxiu found out, he would be very worried. Lu Jiang's face was covered with cannon fodder bloodstains, and his military uniform was so dirty that the original color could no longer be seen. He looked up and saw Wang Zijin, and couldn't help but look surprised. Brother, has he been transferred here? Yeah, I just came back to report to the army. Wang Zijin sat opposite him and watched the nurse treat the shrapnel on his wound, apply medicine and bandage. After the nurse finished processing and bandaging, he continued, I met your partner when I went to see Lao Chen. Lu Jiang suddenly jumped up, have you seen Qingxiu? How is she? Is everything okay? Wang Zijin stood up and pushed him back to his original position, and said angrily, my brother and sister are very good, they are very nice, they speak well, and their conduct is impeccable. But I don't think you are good. If my brother and sister know that you are injured, I will accuse you. I might worry more about you. How can we fight without scratching our skin? It's okay, but don't tell her, Lu Jiang said hurriedly. Wang Zijin patted his feet and brought the luggage bag that he had brought over when he learned that Lu Jiang was back. That's your business. I won't get involved. Now that I see you, I will give you the things that my brother and sister asked me to bring you. My mission is completed. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 138. What? Lu Jiang asked while using his uninjured hand to unpack the luggage. As soon as he put his hand on it, he found that many comrades had gathered around to treat wounds. Both eyes were gleaming. Lu Jiang immediately stopped. Pulled the luggage bag to his feet. He won't open it anymore. He'll go back to his place and look at it again. Don't think he doesn't know, those brats are all thinking about the food Feng Qingxiu sends every time. The training was usually intense, and there were severe famines outside. It was difficult for them to eat enough with the food provided by the army, and most of them were half full. The food sent by Feng Qingxiu was so much that they all had to eat it. Whispering sound. A group of comrades regretfully retreated to their original positions, looking at Wang Zijin longingly as he carefully explained the tasks Feng Qingxiu had given him. Wang Zijin smiled. Fortunately, he had stuffed the dagger and envelope into his luggage bag after returning to the army. He said vaguely, the things and letters given to you by my brothers and sisters are in the luggage bag. Don't forget to open them when you go back. Brother Wang, isn't our captain's wife particularly gentle and beautiful? asked a company commander named Zhao Dazhuang under Lu Jiang. Gentle and beautiful, Wang Zijin thought about the Feng Qingxiu he saw. Gentle is gentle, very kind, and very strong, but that appearance doesn't match beauty, right? Just as he was about to say this, he suddenly remembered that Chen Ming and Xiao Hong seemed to have praised Feng Qingxiu, saying that no one could notice the fact that she was a beauty just by looking at her dress, which meant that Feng Qingxiu was really beautiful and pretended to be ugly. He nodded, of course. A very nice girl. At this point, he repeated the vows Feng Qingxiu said in front of them, and then said, "Look, how lucky Lu Jiang is to meet such a good partner." Lu Jiang's eyes suddenly became moist, and his heart was filled with emotion and sweetness. The other wounded were envious. Some of them are married, and there are also many young men who are not married. Those who have been married hope that their wives will stick to the family, but are full of guilt. Who among those who have not been married does not want to find someone who is devoted to them? Nurse Lu, who was bandaging the wounded man's wound, suddenly said, "Love is naturally stronger when it is deep. Only we women can understand a woman's heart. Captain Lu, your lover has made such an oath, and his feelings for you are clear at a glance. You must cherish it yet. Your greatest reward for her is to save her life in this war and go home safely." "Yes, you are right," Lu Jiang nodded heavily. Returning to his residence, Lu Jiang took out the photo of him wearing personal clothes, and gently touched Feng Qingxiu on the photo. "Qingxiu, wait for me, I will definitely go back to find you." Feng Qingxiu's oath gave him great courage. After carefully wrapping the photo in an old grey checkered handkerchief and putting it into his close pocket, Lu Jiang opened the luggage bag and took out the letter on top first. The letter is light and heavy at the same time. The light one is weight, as light as a feather; the heavy one is friendship, as heavy as 1,000 caddies. There were no sweet words in the letter. It only told him what the things were and how to use them. Then he asked him to take care and not worry about his family. Finally, he wrote a poem: "The clouds make tricks, the flying stars spread hatred, and the silver man is far away in darkness. Once the golden wind and jade do meet, they will win over the world. The tenderness is like water, and the good times are like dreams. If the love lasts for a long time, how can it last forever?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 139. After sending Wang Zijin away, Feng Qingxiu felt relieved, hoping that everything would be in Lu Jiang's hands, which would increase his safety and reduce the chance of injury. As the first lunar month passes, everything revives, and traces of green appear all over the mountains and plains. Women who have been hungry all winter carry bamboo baskets to dig for wild vegetables in early spring. When they come back, they select and wash them cleanly. They can be used to make vegetable soup or vegetable paste. If the conditions are good, they can be mixed with flour and kneaded into steamed buns. You occupy this area, and I occupy that area. No one infringes on anyone else's territory, and everyone gets busy with their work. Wild vegetables are very good. They are rich in nutrients. In order not to arouse suspicion, I am tired of eating only radish and cabbage all winter, so I should add new flavors. Feng Qingxiu took her younger sister to join the army of digging wild vegetables. Her equipment is complete, including a small bamboo basket, a large backpack, and 2 shovels, one large and one small. Feng Qingxiu only recognized wild shepherd's purse and dandelions were the best for reducing inflammation and relieving pain, so she only dug these 2. They were fresh and tender, and her heart felt bright. Hongling Niang and Aunt Feng gathered around the 2 sisters, digging wild vegetables and chatting. Needless to say, Aunt Feng got the benefit. Mother Hongling was naturally grateful to Feng Qingxiu for the brown sugar and eggs she had given her some time ago. Thanks to these two good things, her daughter was able to replenish her nutrition and maintain her body well, so the mother and daughter were very grateful to Feng Qingxiu. "Xiaoxiu, have you heard?" Hongling Niang spoke first. "What are you talking about? I stay at home every day and don't go out much." Aunt Feng liked liveliness by nature, so she also asked what was going on. "It's your uncle's cousin, the one named Wang Xiao, who told me about Zhang Yuejin who kills pigs and sells meat in our county's grocery store. From now on, their family will have no shortage of meat." Hongling Niang was extremely envious. "Does Wang Jiao have a partner?" Feng Qingxiu said she was unclear. "As for having meat to eat in the future, it makes sense. Didn't it say so in the information she read? The masters who kill pigs and sell meat are very powerful, more arrogant than the cotters, and everyone wants to buy meat through their back door. The term backdoor comes from this." Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, "I haven't been to Wanglu for a few days. I don't know what happened to my uncle's family." "How did Auntie know about it?" "Your aunt's family belongs to Wanglu. Didn't she go visit relatives on the second and third day of the new year?" Aunt Feng knew the relationship between Hongling Niang and Wanglu, so she quickly helped her niece to clear up her doubts. "It turns out that my mother's family belongs to Wanglu. What a coincidence. No, who would have thought that your marriage would actually go to my natal family?" Madame Hongling smiled. "My natal family used to be tenants of the Lu family. To be honest, the Lu family are good people. The rent collected every year is 20 to 30% less than other landlords. Don't underestimate the 20 to 30% of grain. Paying 20 to 30% less can prevent 80% of the tenants from going hungry. Who didn't say that all the Lu family were wealthy back then? A good person? His family was in bad luck and had a lot of land. He was classified as a big landowner and was beaten down as a rich man." Regarding the issue of the division of ingredients, Feng Qingxiu smiled slightly and declined to comment. "Has my cousin's marriage been decided? How come it has been spread to us so quickly? She only became engaged when Lu Zhang came to pick her up and acknowledge her." Hongling Niang thought for a while and said, "It's most likely settled. My sister-in-law said that your eldest sister-in-law has agreed to the Zhang family's proposal of marriage." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 140. After saying this, Hongling Niang then added, "My sister-in-law is a well-known matchmaker from all over the country. When the Zhang family proposed marriage to your uncle's family, they asked my sister-in-law to be the middleman." With this said, Feng Qingxiu and Aunt Feng knew that the source of the information was accurate. Second, Aunt Feng said doubtfully, "Wang Jiao is quite handsome and fashionably dressed, but she has a bad temper. You can tell at a glance that she is not the kind of person who is easy to get along with. Why did the Zhang family fall in love with her? Although Xiaoxiu, she my uncle is the branch secretary, but Zhang Yuejin is a master meat seller. The Zhang family is no worse than the Wang family, so it is strange that he is willing to marry an ancestor." Because she had met Wang Xiao, Aunt Feng, who boasted of her fiery eyes, had a very bad impression of her. Hey! What's weird? It's normal for a family to have girls from all over the world. Wang Jiao is handsome, and Zhang Yuejin fell in love with her. As for whether her temper is good or her character is good, who knows if we haven't lived together with outsiders. Since I became a prostitute, Zhang Yuejin, a master meat chef, has a very high vision. Many people wanted to recruit him as their son-in-law, but he did not agree. Unexpectedly, Wang Jiao came to the city some time ago, and he fell in love with it. When he came back, he asked his mother to find my sister-in-law. The Wang family said that he was the most promising, but his mother didn't dare not listen. We, Xiaoxiu, were poor before, and our father didn't care for our mother. We were so hungry that we couldn't do anything if we had more meat like now. Wait until Lujan comes back. Feng Qingxiu said hurriedly, I don't dare to compare with my cousin. How beautiful am I? Hongling Niang glanced at her and sneered, don't I know what you look like? Your mother was a beauty when she was young. How ugly can you be? Besides, who can't see your face up close? The ashes on the bottom of the pot. As a girl, there is no male labor in the family, so it's okay to dress up ugly. As long as the good-looking side is hidden and not exposed to people with evil intentions, there is no danger. Auntie, Feng Qingxiu smiled sheepishly. Hongling Niang didn't stop while she was talking. She dug up a fresh wild shepherd's purse and put it in the basket. Then she found 2 gray shepherd's purses from the grass and dug them out. She and Aunt Feng recognized a wide variety of wild vegetables, and they quickly and accurately picked up any edible wild vegetables. Feng Qingxiu only dug up the wild vegetables and wild shepherd's purse. After returning home for lunch, she spent an entire afternoon selecting half of the baskets and half of the baskets of wild vegetables. She washed them carefully 3 or 4 times and put them in the bamboo basket. Control water inside. At night, she cut a few handfuls of tender mother-in-law cubes, chopped a handful of peanuts, fried the chopped peanuts in a pan, then added the mother-in-law cubes, added some salt and 5 spice powder, stir-fried and added water to boil. First beat 2 eggs, mix well and strain into the pot to form flours, then mix cold water with some pasta water and pour it in. Stir evenly before boiling. Half a pot of vegetable paste will be freshly baked. The fragrance of the mother-in-law's cubes and the crispiness of the crushed peanuts were mixed together, and it was so delicious that Feng Qingyun drank 2 bowls in one go. Don't eat too much at night. If you want to eat, let's dig wild vegetables tomorrow, Feng Qingxiu said. Feng Qingyun said strangely, Sister, I haven't finished eating the wild vegetables today. Feng Qingxiu said sternly, I will make noodles with the remaining wild vegetables tomorrow. I will keep a few for our family and give some to the Lu family. Besides, there are so many people digging wild vegetables today, how can we eat them all? How much? Didn't you see that many families put the washed wild vegetables outside to dry in the afternoon, and then take them out when there is no more food at home? We have only had a few days of good times, have you forgotten the pain of not having anything to eat? Sister, let's go dig wild vegetables early tomorrow and dry them in the sun and put them away.